200 years from now, no one will remember your name. Not your parents, not your friends, not the people you love or the people who irritated you most. Photographs will fade, digital storage will collapse, words will be lost in corrupted servers, languages will evolve beyond recognition, cities will be rebuilt or abandoned, civilizations will vanish. Every record of your existence, every artifact meant to preserve your identity will either decay or transform until it no longer represents you. This is not a philosophical pessimism, it is a probabilistic certainty, grounded in history and physics. Most humans, even those who leave a trace in texts, are eventually forgotten. History records only a fraction of experience, a fraction of consequence, a fraction of being. Consider a physicist, a man named Richard Feynman, who refused comforting illusions. He looked at life, at nature, at reality with uncompromising clarity. He understood that the universe does not keep score in human terms, does not honor reputation, does not preserve identity. It preserves consequences, records causal chains, registers energy, shifts entropy, rearranges matter, but does not remember you as you perceive yourself. Think of any moment in your life, a triumph, a heartbreak, a moment of private shame, a flash of elation. Inside your mind, that moment feels eternal. It shapes choices, it alters perception, it defines the contours of who you are. But physically, it is a cascade of electrical and chemical events. Neurons firing, neurotransmitters released, molecules changing shape and position. That moment ends. It leaves traces in others, in consequences, but the precise pattern that created your experience dissolves over time. In 200 years, the atoms that carried your thoughts, your memories, your body will be scattered, recombined, recycled into other forms, participating in processes that bear no resemblance to the life you lived. Even if your name survives in some record, the essence of your experience will be irretrievable. The haunting question arises: if memory cannot endure, if identity is temporary, if biography is erased by time and entropy, does life matter? Feynman confronted this without sentimentality or despair. Human beings evolved in small social groups. Memory, reputation, and social perception were survival tools. Our brains are wired to crave permanence because it mattered in a village of 150. Beyond that scale, permanence is illusory. Look backward 200 years. Most people are forgotten. Their daily lives, their inner joys, fears, struggles, and secret desires are irrecoverable. And yet in their moment, they were as alive as you are now. Fully conscious, fully engaged, fully present. The universe does not track names, identities, or legacies. It tracks patterns, interactions, causal chains. Order exists temporarily. Entropy ensures that structures decay unless continuously maintained by energy. Your body consumes energy to preserve itself. Your brain organizes thoughts to preserve memory and perception. Civilization expends resources to preserve culture and history, but no system resists entropy indefinitely. The atoms in your bones, your blood, your brain, and skin will eventually redistribute into the environment. Your personality, as a precise pattern of matter and energy, will cease to exist. Yet these atoms are ancient, forged in stellar furnaces long before Earth existed. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, these elements have passed through countless forms, life and non-life, oceans, stars, soil, storms, living organisms, and now temporarily you. Your existence is a transient configuration, a local arrangement of matter and energy within a vast dynamic system. This recognition is both terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because permanence as we perceive it is unattainable. Liberating because permanence is not required for significance. Even as your specific pattern dissolves, every action you take propagates consequences. Each conversation, each act of kindness, each creative effort, each choice you make alters the configuration of reality. These ripples, subtle yet undeniable, continue even if the memory of you does not. Duration is not equivalent to impact. Intensity, specificity, interaction, causation, all matter more than the longevity of a name. Feynman understood this in his work, in his life, in the way he approached curiosity. He solved problems, explored physics, played, questioned, observed, not for legacy, not for recognition, but for the immediate engagement with reality. The act of understanding, the pursuit of clarity, the connection with the material and intellectual world is intrinsically valuable. A single insight, a single observation, a single act of attention changes the world slightly. These changes accumulate, ripple outward, and interact with countless other processes. Your life is like a stone dropped in a pond. The specific shape of the stone is transient, but the ripples are real. They propagate, they interact, they affect the system. Your influence may be subtle, invisible, unrecorded, but it exists. Every human being forgotten by history was nonetheless alive in this sense. Every conversation, every decision, every unrecorded act had causal effects. History is a narrow filter. Civilization preserves only what is selected, deemed significant, convenient, or monumental. Vast swaths of human experience vanish. This is not tragedy, it is fact. It reframes what matters. You are not measured by the permanence of your biography, but by the intensity and specificity of your interaction with reality. Consider the chemical and physical foundations of your being. The atoms in your body have circulated through countless forms. Calcium in your bones once traveled through oceans, soil, stars. Iron in your blood once existed in earlier organisms. Carbon in your cells was part of ancient plants, prehistoric animals, cosmic dust. You are a fleeting configuration of matter, but you are matter aware of itself. Consciousness, attention, curiosity, experience, these are extraordinarily rare configurations in the universe. They are transient yet profoundly meaningful. Feynman highlighted this by showing that even simple scientific discoveries carry significance not because they are recorded in history, but because the act of understanding engages the universe. Pleasure, curiosity, inquiry, awareness, these are the currencies of significance in a universe that does not preserve names. In 200 years, your name may vanish. Every trace of your individual biography may disappear. Yet right now, as this pattern of atoms forms your consciousness, the universe is reflecting upon itself through you. That reflection is real. That engagement is significant. The haunting truth is this: permanence is an illusion, but presence is not. What matters is not being remembered, but experiencing, noticing, interacting, observing, affecting. Your life in its immediacy has consequences. Your attention reshapes reality. Your choices influence trajectories. Your curiosity propagates understanding. You are temporary, yet you are real, and for this brief interval, the universe experiences itself through your fleeting, intricate, conscious existence. This recognition reframes human anxiety about legacy. Legacy is not measured in centuries, in historical remembrance, in monuments, in names inscribed on paper or stone. Legacy is measured in the network of interactions, in the causal web, in the shifts your presence induces in matter, energy, and consciousness. Each act of engagement is a trace, subtle but undeniable, etched into the unfolding of the universe. Your impermanence does not negate significance, it defines the scale of engagement. The temporary nature of existence allows intensity, allows focus, allows clarity. Duration does not dictate meaning. 200 years from now, memory may vanish, names may disappear, records may crumble. But for this moment, for this configuration of atoms that is conscious and aware, your life is fully present, fully engaged, fully consequential. Feynman's perspective, free from sentiment, free from the pursuit of historical immortality, illuminates a path. Significance lies not in being remembered, but in the depth, intensity, and authenticity of presence. The universe does not require that you endure to validate your impact. It only requires that you engage. Awareness, curiosity, observation, action, these are real, measurable, and profoundly meaningful. Your life is a temporary wave in an immense ocean of matter and energy. It will crest, propagate, and dissolve. Yet while it exists, it moves the surrounding system. That movement, subtle and visible, irretrievable in 2 centuries, is your mark, your impact, your consequence. You
could be being forgotten by history was nonetheless alive in this sense.
Every conversation, every decision, every unrecorded act had causal effects. History is a narrow filter. Civilization preserves only what is selected, deemed significant, convenient, or monumental. Vast swaths of human experience vanish. This is not tragedy, it is fact. It reframes what matters. You are not measured by the permanence of your biography, but by the intensity and specificity of your interaction with reality. Consider the chemical and physical foundations of your being. The atoms in your body have circulated through countless forms. Calcium in your bones once traveled through oceans, soil, stars. Iron in your blood once existed in earlier organisms. Carbon in your cells was part of ancient plants, prehistoric animals, cosmic dust. You are a fleeting configuration of matter, but you are matter aware of itself. Consciousness, attention, curiosity, experience, these are extraordinarily rare configurations in the universe. They are transient yet profoundly meaningful. Feynman highlighted this by showing that even simple scientific discoveries carry significance not because they are recorded in history, but because the act of understanding engages the universe. Pleasure, curiosity, inquiry, awareness, these are the currencies of significance in a universe that does not preserve names. In 200 years, your name may vanish. Every trace of your individual biography may disappear. Yet right now, as this pattern of atoms forms your consciousness, the universe is reflecting upon itself through you. That reflection is real. That engagement is significant. The haunting truth is this: permanence is an illusion, but presence is not. What matters is not being remembered, but experiencing, noticing, interacting, observing, affecting.
The universe does not keep score.
200 years from now, no one may remember your name. And yet something stranger remains true. The universe itself will not remember you. Not emotionally, not historically, not symbolically. It will continue indifferent to the individual, tracking only the rearrangement of matter and the flow of energy, the propagation of causes, the increase of entropy, the inexorable unfolding of physical law. Richard Feynman approached reality with this clarity. He refused to anthropomorphize the cosmos, refused to imbue it with moral bookkeeping. Gravity does not reward, electromagnetism does not punish, thermodynamics does not favor virtue. The universe is exact, indifferent, impartial. This indifference is not cruelty, it is structure, the natural law of existence. Human beings evolved in small tribes where being remembered, being considered reliable or dangerous, being honored or shunned, directly affected survival. Our brains are wired to obsess over permanence and reputation because those instincts were adaptive in groups of no more than a few hundred individuals. Beyond that scale, in the expanse of history and the immensity of the cosmos, permanence is an illusion. Look back 2 centuries. Most lives are unrecorded, most identities erased. Their thoughts, emotions, fears, hopes, and private joys have vanished. History preserves only fragments, names, events, victories, catastrophes, symbols distilled from complex lived realities. Yet those forgotten individuals were fully alive in the depth of their own consciousness. From the perspective of physics, identity is temporary, memory is fragile, structures decay, energy redistributes, entropy increases, atoms scatter, recombine, integrate into new systems. Your body, your brain, the molecules that define your thoughts and personality will dissolve into the wider universe. Your mind, your unique pattern, your inner world will cease. And yet, paradoxically, your impact continues. Every choice you make, every interaction you have, every act of curiosity or kindness alters the network of matter and energy around you. Even if no one remembers your name, the universe is subtly different because of your presence. You are a temporary node in a vast causal web. Your existence, however brief, produces ripples that propagate outward, interacting with other ripples, rearranging probabilities, nudging future outcomes in ways both profound and imperceptible. History may forget, entropy may erase, identity may dissolve, but causal influence persists. This is the framework Feynman implicitly understood. Significance is not measured by being remembered, but by engagement, by participation in reality. Duration is not equivalent to importance. A star that shines for 1,000,000 years may burn quietly. A supernova that flashes for a few seconds can reshape the cosmos. Similarly, an individual life may be brief in cosmic terms, yet influence the unfolding of events beyond immediate perception. Consciousness itself is a rare phenomenon. A configuration of matter capable of observation, awareness, reflection, and action is statistically extraordinary. You, reading this, are matter aware of itself, and that awareness produces real, measurable effects in the network of reality. Your neurons fire, chemical reactions cascade, decisions are made, actions occur, and these propagate into the world. The universe records these effects, not the label of the person causing them. Feynman often emphasized the interplay between simplicity and complexity, between the elegance of underlying laws and the apparent chaos of phenomena. Human existence is analogous. We perceive ourselves as unique, meaningful, continuous, and permanent. Physics reveals the underlying impermanence, the transient configuration of matter and energy, the ephemeral nature of identity. But acknowledging impermanence does not erase significance. It clarifies it. The question shifts from will I be remembered to how does my presence alter the system while I exist? Every conversation, every decision, every act of learning or teaching, every physical interaction produces causal consequences. Even minor choices cascade. Chaos theory demonstrates that small variations in initial conditions can lead to dramatically different outcomes. Human societies function in a similar manner. Micro-interactions, subtle decisions, fleeting moments of attention or neglect, all ripple outward into broader effects. You cannot always perceive these effects, but they exist. Memory is selective. Civilization preserves some traces, ignores others. Social hierarchies, fame, power, monuments, records, all are temporary scaffolds to slow the decay of memory. They cannot prevent it indefinitely. Thermodynamics guarantees that entropy increases, that structures decay without constant energy input. Bodies die, books deteriorate, servers fail, languages evolve. Human ambition, fame, and desire for historical immortality confront these unyielding physical laws. This confrontation produces anxiety, yet it also offers liberation. Liberation comes from realizing that significance does not require permanence. To live, to observe, to act consciously, to engage with curiosity and integrity produces effects that are real while they exist. They ripple outward into space and time, altering the causal structure of reality, influencing outcomes, changing trajectories, even when their origin is forgotten. Feynman's life exemplified this principle. He pursued understanding, curiosity, and inquiry not for posterity, not for accolades, not for the endurance of his name, but for the act itself. He played the bongos, cracked safes, solved equations, lectured, and explored because engagement with reality was intrinsically meaningful. That engagement, even if ultimately forgotten by history, produced real effects, insights in students, solutions to problems, contributions to physics, joy, amusement, inspiration. These effects are independent of memory. They exist in the world in the network of matter, energy, and consciousness. They are part of the unfolding causal web. The universe does not keep score of identities, only of interactions. Consciousness is temporary, identity dissolves, memory fades, yet causal influence persists. Recognizing this reframes human anxiety about legacy. The desire to be remembered, to leave a permanent mark, is understandable, but ultimately misplaced on cosmological scales. What matters is the depth, authenticity, and attentiveness of engagement. Human life, like a brief spark in a dark room, illuminates what it touches, even if the light is fleeting. Meaning arises not from permanence, but from effect, from interaction, from attention. A conversation can redirect a life. A discovery can alter a trajectory. A small act of kindness can propagate through innumerable unforeseen consequences. You may never see these ripples. You may never be credited for them. You may never be remembered, but they exist. Your life, your consciousness, your attention is a rare configuration of matter capable of reshaping reality, however subtly. 200 years from now, entropy will scatter your atoms, memory will erase your identity, history will forget your biography. Yet your causal influence, your interactions, your presence in the web of reality persist in ways that cannot be fully tracked but are real and tangible. Feynman's haunting insight is that permanence is irrelevant. Presence is everything. Engagement is everything. Conscious participation in the unfolding universe, however transient, is significant. The universe does not recognize names, reputations, or legacies. It recognizes interactions, energy exchanges, causal ripples. Your attention, choices, curiosity, and actions are the mechanisms by which significance manifests. The ephemeral nature of existence magnifies the value of conscious engagement. Nothing lasts, yet everything that exists while it exists has power. Human anxiety over remembrance misaligns with the physics of reality. History, memory, fame, these are fleeting. The real metric of consequence is not temporal endurance, but intensity of presence. To live fully, attentively, and authentically is to create ripples in the causal network of reality that will endure beyond your personal memory. Consciousness is a temporary lens through which the universe experiences itself. Each thought, each act, each moment of observation, each question asked, each choice made participates in this unfolding reflection. Significance lies not in permanence, not in historical record, not in memorialization, but in engagement, in interaction, in attention, and presence. In this perspective, fear of being forgotten dissolves. What matters is not the endurance of your name, but the integrity of your engagement, the authenticity of your curiosity, the conscientiousness of your choices, the honesty of your observation. 200 years from now, history may erase all traces of you. But in this moment, your actions, your awareness, your consciousness ripple through the causal fabric of the universe. These ripples are real. They are consequences. They are your legacy, unbound by memory, unrecorded by history, yet undeniable in their effect on reality. Feynman's insight reframes the haunting question, will anyone remember me? Into how does my presence interact with reality while I exist? That question, pursued honestly, attentively, and curiously, defines significance. Memory is optional. Presence is essential. Your life, fleeting and temporary, is significant in the only way the universe actually recognizes, through effect, through interaction, through causal influence, through being. The universe does not keep score of identities, it only propagates consequences. Your engagement, attention, curiosity, and presence are the mechanisms through which reality reshapes itself. That is your mark, that is your significance, that is the haunting, liberating answer.
If remembrance isn't the point, then what is?
200 years from now, your name will probably be gone. Every record of your life, online, posts, photographs, writings, monuments, achievements, will either have vanished or have been so transformed that it no longer represents your lived experience. History will condense complex, lived realities into simplified symbols, truncated narratives, bullet points in a textbook, names in a list. This is not tragedy, it is inevitable. Civilization preserves only a sliver of experience, an infinitesimal fraction of the events that unfolded in any given lifetime. And yet in the moment of living, experience is intense, real, and undeniable. Richard Feynman understood this profoundly. He saw that meaning does not depend on permanence, that significance does not require historical remembrance, that legacy is not the true measure of a life. Instead, significance arises from presence, from attention, from the active engagement with reality. Presence is the currency of meaning. the mechanism through which influence propagates, the conduit for causal ripples that extend beyond immediate perception. Memory may fail, history may forget, identity may dissolve, but consequences persist. Every thought, every act, every choice produces effects in the network of matter, energy, and consciousness. Even if imperceptible, even if uncredited, these effects shape the unfolding universe. They alter trajectories, redirect events, create infinitesimal but real differences in outcomes. Duration is irrelevant. Intensity, authenticity, and attentiveness are decisive. Feynman recognized that the pursuit of knowledge, the engagement with reality, the curiosity-driven act of uncovering nature's principles carries intrinsic significance. Understanding is not valuable because it is recorded. It is valuable because it occurs. Observing, analyzing, questioning, experimenting, solving puzzles, exploring phenomena, these acts generate effects that reverberate through consciousness, society, and the material world. The universe, indifferent to identity, registers consequences. You, as a conscious pattern of matter, are a rare transient configuration capable of interacting with reality in ways unimaginable to inert systems. Your presence alters probabilities, adjusts causal chains, redistributes energy in subtle but real ways. To live attentively is to participate in this ongoing unfolding. Human anxiety over legacy stems from a mismatch between evolutionary programming and cosmological scale. Our brains are wired to worry about social permanence, to seek validation and memory, to fear oblivion. These instincts were adaptive in small groups where being remembered could influence survival. On the scale of centuries or millennia, these concerns are misaligned with physical reality. Entropy guarantees decay, time erodes identity, civilizations rise and fall, all monuments crumble. Trying to escape this inevitability produces stress, fear, and misdirected effort. Freedom emerges when one recognizes that significance is independent of permanence. The real measure is not survival and memory, but engagement in the present. Conscious interaction with reality produces causal effects that are tangible, measurable, and meaningful. A conversation may redirect a life. A problem solved may influence countless downstream actions. A small act of kindness may propagate through networks of consciousness in ways unknowable to the initiator. These effects, however transient, constitute true legacy. Feynman's life exemplified this principle. He did not seek fame for its own sake. He did not obsess over historical recognition. He explored physics, played, taught, lectured, experimented, questioned, and engaged deeply with reality. These acts left causal ripples, students inspired, discoveries achieved, curiosity ignited. None of these effects relied on permanent recognition. They existed in the present, extended causally, and were sufficient. The ephemeral nature of identity amplifies the value of engagement. Awareness, attention, curiosity, action, these are the mechanisms by which significance manifests in a universe that does not record names. Consciousness is temporary, yet it is the medium through which reality experiences itself. While you exist, while your pattern of matter and energy is organized in a conscious configuration, the universe perceives, interacts, and responds through you. This moment is both rare and profound. The atoms in your body have traversed stellar furnaces, oceans, soil, plants, animals, and human generations. For this fleeting interval, they are arranged as a conscious reflective system capable of influencing reality. Permanence is unnecessary, engagement suffices. The haunting realization that history will forget your name becomes liberating when recast in this framework. Oblivion is not tragic, it is natural. It relieves the pressure of performing for eternity, frees attention from anxiety over recognition, and allows focus on presence, curiosity, and authentic interaction. Life's significance resides in the process, not the record. The act of observing, thinking, creating, and interacting is itself meaningful, independent of memory or reputation. Even if future civilizations erase every trace of your existence, the causal ripples you produce continue, subtly shaping reality. The universe does not evaluate names, identities, or fame. It propagates effects, redistributes energy, and unfolds according to natural law. Conscious, attentive life inserts intentional patterns into this unfolding, altering trajectories. This is the true measure of significance. 200 years from now, your body will decompose, your neurons will cease, your patterns will dissolve. History may erase your biography, erase your name, erase any recognition of your presence. Yet while your consciousness existed, the universe interacted with you. While your neurons fired, while your choices occurred, while your awareness engaged reality, effects propagated. They are the imperceptible but real marks of your existence. This is Feynman's final liberating insight. Permanence is irrelevant, presence is everything. Significance arises not from being remembered, but from interacting consciously and attentively with the world while you exist. Awareness, inquiry, action, curiosity, attention, engagement, these are the mechanisms of lasting effect. Memory may fail, history may forget, identity may vanish, causal influence persists. Conscious life, even fleeting, reshapes reality. The ephemeral spark of being is sufficient to produce meaningful ripples. A life fully inhabited, observed, and acted through is significant, even if forgotten. The universe experiences itself through such transient patterns. You are such a pattern. You exist now in the rare configuration of matter, capable of observation and action. The intensity of your engagement matters more than any historical record. 200 years from now, your name may vanish, yet the system, the causal web of matter, energy, and consciousness is different because you existed. That difference, subtle and untraceable in full, constitutes your true legacy. Remembrance is optional, presence is essential, consciousness is temporary, identity is ephemeral, memory is fragile. Yet while these phenomena exist, they generate effects real in the physical and causal structure of the universe. That is significance. That is meaning. That is the haunting, liberating truth Feynman left us. Permanence is an illusion, oblivion inevitable, history selective, but engagement, attention, and conscious participation in reality are undeniable and profoundly consequential. The universe does not care about your name, but it reflects itself through your presence. That reflection, while fleeting, is real, powerful, and sufficient. Significance is not recorded, it is enacted. Memory is optionum quae effort, cugatnur, te time erodes identity, civilizations rise and fall, all monuments crumble. Trying to escape this inevitability produces stress, fear, and misdirected effort. Freedom emerges when one recognizes that significance is independent of permanence. The real measure is not survival in memory, but engagement in the present. Conscious interaction with reality produces causal effects that are tangible, measurable, and meaningful. A conversation may redirect a life, a problem solved may influence countless downstream actions, a small act of kindness may propagate through networks of consciousness in ways unknowable to the initiator. These effects, however transient, constitute true legacy. Feynman's life exemplified this principle. He did not seek fame for its own sake. He did not obsess over historical recognition. He explored physics, played, taught, lectured, experimented, questioned,